Introducing the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and many more. The Open Palm Podcast, where the host engages his listeners with inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas. Topics include: make more mistakes, how much is your value, don't get right, get going, learning to let go, excellence is a habit, and more. Binge listen today. Subscribe today. It's getting excellent ratings. That's the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. You can also find it on YouTube. Make sure you share it with your social networks and connect on Twitter and Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's the Open Palm Podcast with Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms. Go listen, download, and subscribe now.
Today, I am so excited. Today is a triumph. Today is a victory. Today, I have officially gone 31 days without food. And today I celebrated. I celebrated with some vegetable broth and tomato soup. But it was victory for me. It was so good. The tomato soup especially was just, oh man. I never eat tomato soup. I don't recall a time before today that I've ever even bought, let alone eaten tomato soup. But today I did, and it was so good. It was so tasty. A whole month without food. Shout out to influences. Shout out to Air, who followed me on YouTube at Jerome Shaw. She encouraged me as she's been juicing. Shout out to Ray Mayor, a famous YouTuber and Breatharian. Shout out to Elitom Elahim, another Breatharian on YouTube. Shout out to Jazz Muheen, a lady that I've seen her documentary where she talks about living on light and prana. Shout out to everyone who made this possible for me, because inspiration is a superpower. I believe that we have the power to inspire others. I think I read it was in 1954 that Roger Bannister was the first person to ever run a mile in under 4 minutes. And before that, no one thought it was possible. Doctors said it was impossible. Athletes, everybody accepted that it was just humanly impossible. Your body would not be able to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And then came Roger Bannister. And after he did it, it took months. After centuries, after years of people believing that it was impossible, one man did it, and it took months. In a matter of months, hundreds of people began breaking the record. Hundreds of people began running miles in under 4 minutes. All it takes is one person. So thank you, and shout out to all the wonderful souls, the wonderful individuals of light, the light workers who decided to start their journey and discover a life without food, a life that I thought was impossible. If you would have asked me just a couple of months ago, would I be doing this? I would have thought you were crazy. If you would have asked me just a couple of months ago, if a human being could go without food for a whole year, let alone years, as I've come to learn, I would have thought you were crazy. My eyes have been opened. My heart has been opened. My mind has been opened. So many senses have now been opened. And I want to say that as I speak about my experiences, and you hear about this on my journey, because I usually just talk about things that are motivational messages. But if I can motivate you and inspire you with my story, then I'm happy to do that. But as I speak, if you don't relate to the things that I'm talking about, it's completely okay. It's fine. I am not here to tell anyone how to live or to tell you how you should live. I only want to let people know that other ways of living are possible. That another way of living is possible. Because there are so many people who believe that it's impossible to live in certain ways. I cannot tell you how many people were worried about me, were concerned for my safety, asked me questions like, why are you doing this? How long are you doing this? You're gonna stop, right? You're gonna go back to eating, right? You're not gonna... I'm just worried about you. I'm just worried about you. One of my friends even asked me, I'm sure you got a dietitian lined up and, you got a checkup lined up and everything, right? I said, no. Quite the contrary. No one's lined up. This is me. I'm doing this all on my own. And they said, oh. Okay. Right then, well, okie dokie. My nose has opened up, my friend. My friend, you don't know how excited I am to tell you that I smell now. Not smell like my body smells, but my body is able to smell. I thought that my nose was broken. I thought that when somebody passed gas or when there was a wonderful meal in the room and everybody smells something that I don't smell, I felt just the odd one at the party, the person that just is the last one to know. Everybody else smelled things but me, it seemed. And I just accepted that I had a bad nose, that I just have a bad sense of smell. I would say it over and over, reinforcing it in my mind that I'm just one of those people who doesn't really smell things. Well, now I smell everything. Everything. I can smell the food that someone has eaten when they come around me. I feel like Daredevil. I can smell barbecue down the street. I can smell food from shops outside of the shop. I can smell, don't get me started on walking around in grocery stores when I was going to get juice. I could smell everything. I smelled everything. I could smell all of it. I get excited when I even think about the different smells. So I'm going to stop talking about that now. Because it's just funny. But I never even knew that a life like this was possible. So just forgive me for getting so excited. Not that I'm apologizing, but I didn't know. And like they say, we don't know what we don't know. But when we find out, how enlightened we become. It's been so enlightening, my friend, to discover that when I removed something I thought was essential for life, I discovered a life of my own. Thank you for listening. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, that is the Open Palm Podcast, here in Lake Elsinore, California. The Open Palm means harmony with the world, understanding our place in the world, using our skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. I pray that you received a message from this episode today, and from my experience, you can just draw on it and just know for yourself that there are other ways of living. That maybe not everything that we were taught growing up is true. Perhaps there is some wisdom to be found in other people's experiences. But it may be that the only way you'll truly understand is by living them yourself, which may not be for you. Everyone is different. Our bodies are different. Personalities are different. But may your mind be open just a little bit further to know that it's possible. Share this message and episode with a like-minded individual who is learning and growing, just like you, becoming their greatest version. I believe more people need to hear things like this. In fact, it's very interesting that I don't hear a lot of information about these things. The Liquidarian lifestyle itself, I don't see a lot of information. I see a lot more for Breatharianism, but not Liquidarianism. And I believe that Breatharianism and Liquidarianism, people are on the down low and people keep quiet because they don't want to be ridiculed. They're tired of having people accuse them of lying, tired of having people say that, you know what, you're false, you're ridiculous, you'll die. You can't survive without food. That's hypocrisy. That's stupid, right? And for fear of what everybody might say, they just prefer to be to themselves and not come out in the open, not become public about not eating, because perhaps the world is not ready yet. But I believe, like some people believe, that the world is ready. Fasting has become very common. Intermittent fasting, different forms of fasting, water fasting. But a life without food entirely? Now there's an idea. People have asked how they can support this podcast, and the best way to support it is to become a supporter by opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. And supporting it there is much appreciated. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/Jerome Shaw. Till next time, my friend, have a blessed day or night, wherever you are. Be well, be blessed. Take care.